I'm very appreciative of all the work that was put into that and everything that was done. We also, myself, Jason, Marcus McGee, and Lieutenant Sean Witherow went back to South Dakota and did our pre-construction conference for the new engine that was ordered. And so did a lot of change orders there. There was a lot of things that either because the supply chain couldn't be done that we realized weren't the way we wanted it. And so we spent probably 2 12-hour days going through that. So there'll be,
The time frame's still the same, for 2 years for that.
Yeah.
I've heard that they're moving further, faster.
We have not heard that, but that might, ours is not yet in the queue, right? So we haven't got the change order back to us, and we haven't approved it. And so until they get the change order to us and we approve it, they won't put it in the chassis queue. So you don't really usually get a real good time until it gets put in the queue. And so we'll probably be 2 or 3 months before we get put in the queue, and then we'll have a closer guesstimate. Put it that way. So like yours is surfers are a couple months ahead of us, and so they're probably just getting in the queue, and so they might have got a better estimate.
Yeah, I was shocked at how fast it was.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I was like, I thought everything was that far behind.
Yeah, we were looking at your specs, and it had was just going to queue.
It said December. Delivered December, 3 of them. That's why I was like.
December?
They said
This year?
this year. That's why I was asking you. So I was like,
Yeah,
how is that possible? Wow.
That wasn't what we were getting when we were back there. But
That's why I asked the question.
guess we should have piggybacked onto that bit.
Yeah. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they submitted them.
Maybe you got better.
Yeah.
Or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe yours wasn't in the queue. Maybe yours was actually going, because that's about how long it takes if they're actually hitting the production line. Because most of the waiting isn't to build it. Most of the waiting is just waiting to start it.
Yeah.
And so maybe yours were, when I thought maybe it was going to the queue, maybe it was actually almost to start production. And then that would be about right. Yeah, theirs. Sorry. I have a hard time changing between there and your. Yeah. So that went really well. You'll probably see something about that in the next couple of months. Something will come up. We did add one thing that is probably going to be a significant cost increase, which is automatic door locks, and obviously you guys have to prove that, but I did that at least in the change order because of there has been throughout the county a fair number of recent thefts of equipment off of different fire trucks, and then even more in the state. So it's just over time, it's probably well worth it where things are going.
It locks all
the doors, all the compartment doors, all the cab doors, everything. So yeah, and then there's a keypad, so you don't have to forget your keys or anything. There's a code that the crews can put in to unlock it. So we'll of course they won't tell you the price until they send you the thing, but that'll probably come back to you guys. Overtime, I would say that we have been consistently under year previous in overtime since we signed the contract. So we're monitoring that, but we're now 4 months, and we're still hitting under every month. So we'll keep monitoring that. But that's
in the report. It was 1,050 hours, 1,020 hours down.
Yeah,
from February, that's pretty substantial.
It is, and like I told you last time, we're doing more things with the overtime. Like, a year ago there was really no extra duty to be had with the overtime. So not only are we going under, but we're going under and getting more out of that overtime that is being spent. So that's important to me. We still have more work to do, but as Jason said with the actors, that will all help. Last thing is we all did our wildland pack test last week. I can't believe that Chief Osborne left that out of his report, so I had to get it in. I don't often get to add something to his report. And then lastly, I would like to recognize Chief Gatterman. This will be his last meeting. He's not officially retired, but I think it's important that we recognize him for 4 or 5 years of service, which is just unfathomable to my mind. Because I feel like I've been doing it ever since I can remember, and I'm not even halfway there. So thank you. The amount of leadership that he has provided for me during the transition. I mean, my transition was quite fast paced. And to have Mike here to keep that steadiness and that information and that institutional knowledge has been extremely helpful. And then to watch him mentor Thad, which I think we all know that teaching somebody something that complicated in that short of time is not easy. So that amount of work that he's been putting in to pass off to the next baton has been, invaluable to the organization. So I've only known Mike for 2.5 years, but I can say the amount of effort that he's given our department and our district is amazing. So I don't think any of us can quite fill Mike's shoes, but we'll do our best, and he has done his best to set us up for success. So I'd like to give Mike a round of applause. He'll get, we sent out a flyer to everybody for a little get together here at the end of the month. So please come to that 2 o'clock on the 30th. Anybody else is welcome to show up to congratulate Mike and thank him for his years of service. He'll get his swag there, but I also have something. We kind of honored Jim at the banquet, but since tonight is his official last night, we do have a shadow box for him. The middle part usually has a bunch of your old fire stuff, but since you were a commissioner, you took all your old fire stuff 15 years ago. So you'll have to find some stuff to put in here because we don't have access to it. But this is from the Silver Dollar Club and the local, correct? As a thank you for your years of service. So thank you.
Like great, another thing to move.
So Jim has almost as many years of experience as Mike. So I appreciate your leadership and guidance through this transition too. So your institutional knowledge has been as helpful as Mike's from a commissioner's perspective. So thank you for helping in the transition. And I think that is all I have.
Okay, commissioner comments?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, I thank you as well. Particularly since when I started, I hardly knew anything about the fire service, and I'm still learning more all the time. So, and thank you for, helping me through all that kind of stuff. And when I asked all those questions, remember that? Okay.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What do those letters mean?
Yeah, so that, I really appreciated that as well. Yeah. I did want to just make a comment too. He kind of beat me to it by thanking him. But anyway, I went and attended the Washington Fire Commissioners Association over in Chelan.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things they talked about, they didn't do because somebody got sick. So they brought in risk management. And we've been talking about that. And it's really nice to hear how some of the things we're doing was dovetailing with what they suggested we should do and all that. And, I think from just some of the observation, I think we're a little ahead of some of the other districts and sections. And I think that's good for our community to be that way. And then the second thing is, oh no, that's the one we were supposed to go. No, the one that wasn't there, I learned how to do grants.
Well, great. We know who to send to.
Well, I didn't learn, but it was interesting to hear the disasters that some of the districts have gone through because of various things. And so if we're looking for a grant, at least I'll probably speak up and say something, Okay, do we know what we're doing? But in that whole process, they made a comment that you should ask, if you have a railroad going through your district, you should ask the railroad for a printout of what passes through your district. I don't know if we do that or not, but
We took a really long class. And I was like,
do we do
the
it?
railroad crashes, like just get out of the way.
It's been a long time, but we have done that before.
Okay, well, they just
But-
suggested that we do that so we have a sort of up-to-date, idea of the stuff that's going through, you know, besides coal or oil, you know, there's other stuff that's going through too that are probably out there, so, anyway. But I do want to thank you, so, that's all I have.
Good. All right, so, got the awards banquet. Christine said I only had 5 minutes and she had a hook. So, but now I'm in charge. As much time as I want.
Guess we got,
Because you pay by the hour.
you got 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
3 hours, yeah. Time's up in 3 hours. So, actually, seriously, I also want to thank Mike for his leadership and for his mentoring me when I came, and his dad, Gene, and some of the old guys that were back there. And at the awards banquet, I talked about how we came from going out and squirting water and then going back and rolling dice and drinking beer the rest of the night, which was true. But what I didn't mention was that during those little sessions squirting the water, Mike's dad and Mike later, and some of the other guys, the old timers that had been there for 20 years in 1981, actually taught me a lot about firefighting. Not so much about EMS. They weren't into EMS, but they did teach me a lot about firefighting, about driving engines, and I appreciate that. And over the years, Mike has grown and taken care of a lot of stuff for this department. I'm impressed with his knowledge of everything. I was impressed with that almost from the start. He's like his dad. He knew a lot about, and probably because he hung around the fire station a lot. His dad was in, but I too appreciate that, and I wish you the best in your retirement, and maybe we'll cross paths in Arizona or something. So, and I can't go over everybody tonight because that would probably take more than 3 hours, but Jason, from his first time as a volunteer when he was still in high school, and watching his growth and his leadership, his ability to teach, I was impressed with that early on, and I appreciate that. And Chief Osborne, his enthusiasm has been constant since I've known him, and his ability to teach young people and motivate them to do their best in the Explorer program is invaluable to our department and to those kids. And Chief Scheer, of course, has been the backbone of the technology in the department for all these years, almost since he first got here. And I really appreciated that. Appreciated his knowledge and his ability to, most of the time, make do with half the money he should have had to keep the technology going. And but his ability to do that has been valuable. And so, Chief Ratter, welcome to the department, and I appreciate how fast you've come up to speed, and wish you the best in the future. Chief Waller, what can I say that I haven't already said? I mean, I appreciate, when we hired Chief Waller as a deputy chief, he didn't know that we had hoped he would become chief, and he did, but it wasn't set in stone. It was, hire this guy, we won't tell him, because if it doesn't work out, we don't want him to be disappointed. It worked out, and I've been impressed with the ability of the chief to move projects forward. I know that, as I mentioned at the awards banquet, change isn't always easy. Usually it's not easy, not pleasant, but in the end, things are usually better after you get used to those changes. And working through those changes and shaping them as you work through them so that it works out best for everybody. I appreciate your ability to be able to do that. And I know that not everybody agrees with everything, but they're not supposed to. And I wish you the best in the future. Commissioner Flath, asking all the questions. I've always said that I want people on the board that are different than me because they have different perspectives and different ideas, different desires. And your ability to ask questions, initially when you didn't know what EVAP meant or whatever, but not only that, but your ability to ask questions that I don't think about, really appreciate it. And even though sometimes this is annoying, it's always good. And I appreciate that. And Commissioner Merritt, Evan, what can I say? You've grown a lot in the last couple of years since you've been on the board. And, the first little bit, I think we had a couple of rough spots, but I think you've grown a lot. I think you understand a lot more about the board now and are ready to take over leadership of the board. And so I appreciate your ability or your willingness to listen and to understand and to search things out before going off in some direction. So, and Daryl, Chief Heike. So there's only a few of us that have been around as long as almost everybody in the room. So, Chief Heike is one of the guys you need in your department is somebody that knows the rules and knows how to apply those and how to keep people in line when they don't want to follow the rules. And that's always been your strong suit. And although I didn't always like it, I always appreciated it. And so, and I could go on about other people that aren't here, but I could talk all night about the contribution that the firefighters make to the community, about the contributions, individual contributions they make to the department and to the teams, to their crews. But just let me say that I've appreciated my time here. I've appreciated everything I've learned from all of you, and I'm going to miss that. But I know I'm leaving the department in really good hands. And one of the things that Chief Simmons said when I kept talking to him about retiring was he said the department wasn't in the shape he wanted to leave it in. I guess right now I'm comfortable leaving the department. I think the department is in good hands. I think they're in good shape. And so even though I didn't want to leave, I'm comfortable leaving it in your hands. And I thank you for everything, even the retirement stuff. And again, Mike, wish you the best in retirement. And unfortunately, the 30th, I don't know, I may have to change my plans because I wasn't planning on being in town, but we'll see what I can do.
You are having the party at your house.
Well, actually, that's good because it goes on the market the 28th or 29th. So if you can bring all the people you want, maybe somebody will want to buy it. That'd be good. So that's about all I have to say.
Well, thank you. I'd like for us all to give Jim a round of applause too, because
And with that, we'll close the meeting at 2106 hours.
Can I get a picture of all of you?